Hello, Jamie here with Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you today card 4 of 5 in my Totally Awesome Stamp Set series featuring Fawn's Totally Awesome Stamp Set. And welcome back to all of my subscribers. If you have yet to subscribe, please click that subscribe button below and you'll be notified when new videos go up on the channel. I am starting with that Totally Awesome Stamp Set. The color guide will again be on my blog at www.inkyandscrappy.com if you are interested in the coloring guide for this one. I am starting with my two card bases here. I need to ink them up and I need to remind myself how I did this one the first time. So this is my platform with a view card, but I'm stepping it up a little bit. I'm actually putting 3 windows in the front. So I'm figuring out which sides are which. So by scoring it all, and of course I put tape where a tape was appropriate. Do remember that the tape goes on, I put the tape on the opposite side of that front flap there because I fold mine up after I cut it off a little bit. I think if you fold, if you make that window as far down as you can, if you have a die that's a little bit smaller for that area, you could probably fold it down as well, but this is what I do and it works for me. So I'm just hand creating some stencils here. I don't need it to be anything specific. So I'm just, winging it. So I'm remembering which parts need to be inked up, which parts don't need to be inked up. It took me a little bit of time to remember. So the inside edge I want inked because that's going to show when the platform is popped up. And then because I'm doing 3 windows on this one, I wanted to make sure my front panel is all inked up. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't even have to look the greatest because most of that's going to get cut out anyways. But I want it so when you're turning it, you don't see white space. Hence why the whole inside of the box will be inked, including that top piece, the back panel piece when you're looking inside the platform, and the bottom piece. So because this is going to be my pond per se, I need to make sure that I have a floor in it. And, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do this one to start with. And, I don't plan out anything. I like to wing it, so to say. So I did go in with some Distress Oxide inks. My main colors for the water were Stormy Sky and then Faded Jeans. Faded Jeans tends to be a little bit darker version, I feel, of Stormy Sky. They're in the same tonal family, maybe. I don't know. To me, that's the Faded Jeans is a darker form of Stormy Sky. I'm sure there's some other color tones in there that aren't in the other one. I don't really know. And then for my sand, I'm going to use tea-dyed Distress Oxide ink, and then I'm going to bring in some, I think I did Vintage Photo. And I just wanted something that was darker that was going to shade in the edges a little bit more. And this can be super splotchy. You just kind of want to get that base down because for the most part, your images are going to cover a lot of that up. And it will even out a little bit as it dries. So it looks super splotchy on camera. It's not quite as splotchy in real life. So I'm taking that piece that I made in the last platform pop-up that I did as my cutting guide and just cutting my piece of acetate. So I'm doing this one a little bit different. I decided because I was doing 3 windows, it would be easier to make that piece of acetate one full piece. It'll help with the sturdiness or the stability of my box. At least this is my thought process on this one. To each their own. You could do each one separately, I'm sure. I just felt it was going to be easier to adhere and probably add a little bit more form and stability to that front platform pop-up because it's, not going to have a whole lot of paper there left when I cut the other two windows out. So if you had missed my last one was a while ago, but I did some sea otters, and what was the other one that I did? Oh, and under the sea, like I think it was ocean shelfie one. So I will try to link that one in my description box down below, as well as in the video itself. And that one gives a better step-by-step instruction than this one does, probably. I don't know. So I'm just cutting that down to size. I had done a bigger piece because I had planned on doing the back as well, and then I changed my mind and only did the front with 3 windows. And then because I know that I'm going to have to adhere that piece of acetate, I'm taking a piece of score tape and running it along that bottom there. Because it's all going to be acetate on the inside, I can do this and it will stick, help that acetate to stick down. And of course, I think this is inch wide score tape, so I do end up coming in with a 1/4 inch score tape. I could have probably gotten a little bit more than a 1/4, probably could have done 3/8 of an inch of score tape above this, but I just end up gluing with some Distress, some Tim Holtz, what is it called? The multimedia glue. That's the word I was looking for. So I'm going to line these up on the front, making sure it's in between the 2 folds, and it helps when you fold so you can see those folds. Just trust me on this one. And then I'm trying to get that center window as close as I can to that fold line, because I still have to close those tabs in. And I do end up cutting the tabs down, and of course I put this down as close to the bottom as I feel comfortable doing, because I also have to fold that top platform piece to connect it. So I'm going to pop all of these out, and then, yeah, you see where it doesn't quite touch up there? I'm just going to use, and you probably wouldn't even have to do acetate in here. I just like to make sure that my cards are sturdy, because I don't want them to, rip or fall apart. That's why I do the acetate. If you don't have acetate and you want to try it without the acetate, hey, more power to you, go for it. But I would definitely use a sturdier cardstock. And so I'm just measuring out where I need to make that cut on the top. And then I'm going to trim this down a little bit because I don't want it hanging up on the top, because I don't want it to go above where that platform is going to sit. And then just bringing in my guillotine cutter here so I can get a straight cut. And then, yes, we're also going to do one on the back side. But the back side one, I'm only going to do that middle panel. So I'm only doing the tape in that middle part there. I don't need it to go beyond that one. I thought about doing the 3 panels, and I just figured it was probably a little excessive for what I needed. Business in the front, party in the back, and if I would have remembered to put party hats on the critters in the back, that'd have been hilarious. I could probably still wiggle one back there if I really tried. I won't. That just, it might be a little extra. And who else besides me and my kids would get that joke? So there is my second one. So if you're looking at doing it and you only want to do the 1 platform window, or that's how I did my original ones, my first ones. And those ones turned out super adorable and cute too. But I did also color the front on that one, or the insides, because when you look at it from different angles, you can see the white. It's really up to you. I like to make sure all of my arenas are covered. And yes, it's splotchy on that front piece, and it really doesn't matter because, yeah, once you get, and it kind of adds that, at least for the water effect, it kind of just adds that movement. So I'm going to burnish in that little piece of adhesive I cut my teas out of acetate. The acetate I use is a heavyweight transparency that I get from, I bought a huge pack from Amazon. It was expensive at first, but I think with prices going up, I probably paid half of what it probably goes for now. I don't even know. I bought like the 100 pack. It'll last me forever. Okay, maybe not ever, but for a long while. And then I'm just taking a acetate block and my bone folder here to try to get these to fold a little bit before I add in the other pieces. I think I had them folded prior to, but maybe I didn't. I just needed to reinforce those folds. And this way I'm doing a straight edge against a straight edge, and I don't have to worry about it not buckling. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now that I've reinforced those folds, and I think it was because I'd added that glue on there. So do it before you make the cut would probably be my best advice on that one. Learn from my mistakes. And then I'm just cutting a piece of scrap acetate for my back window, just large enough to cover that opening. It doesn't need to be overly huge. It just needs to, make it past the window opening. And I'm constantly folding and refolding and adhering and making sure that those folds are in place. This just helps when I put it together that everything folds properly. Especially with that full piece of acetate, I was kind of worried about it folding properly. And so I was just making sure that all of that folds well and hopefully works well. So for my actual images on here, I had decided that I was going to put a piece of acetate in the middle. So you don't actually see any of my shelves per se. They're just kind of that clear acetate. So I did 2 acetate teas and then just a acetate strip to go in between the 2 layers. And you will see I was making it so that my log will look the same from both sides, if that makes sense. By using the light box, I could just retrace the outline from the other one, and then I didn't have to worry about trying to stamp and cut and seeing if it was going to work, which I knew it wasn't going to work because of the asymmetrical shape of the log. So I'm just popping this together. If you want to see a better, clearer version of this, check out the other Windows with a View video, and it will have a lot more. It's a lot slower than this one is. This one just took me so long because I built 2 of them with windows instead of just that one front window. So, and for that top piece, I decided it would be cool if my lily pad was flush, kind of flush with the surface. So it kind of floats there, but it's not exactly flat, if that makes sense. So before I put this all together, I'm going to start decorating the inside of the box. Do this before you do anything like of putting it together variety. This will make your life a whole lot easier because getting in there after the fact is not the easiest task. Ask me how I know. It requires tweezers. And yeah, it's just a lot easier to make sure your scenes are finished beforehand. So I'm going in and just stamping some seaweed. This one was from, I pulled in stamp sets or stamps from the Mermaid for You set. And I'm trying to think, there's a couple of other ones. I will list them in the description below and on my blog. So I'm peeling up that adhesive this time, and then I'm coming in with that Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium in matte finish. This will make sure that it stays stuck. It's the best thing that I think you can use for that acetate to get it to stay stuck. Has per glue. I'm sure the other glue would probably work, but I just know that this one tends to be a better bond or more secure. I did not like my coloring on the little fish, so I needed to add another color. He looked better when he was wet. When he dried, his one layer dried back way too light, so he needed another coat. And so I'm just going to figure out where all of my little images are, and then add these in to my scene. So because I use a clear acetate tea, I can pop up an image in the middle of my platform pop-up bottom part. So the inspiration for this one is kind of like when you go to the museum or a park and they have the aquarium setting, like where you have the grassy stuff. I guess when we went to the Everglade Park, that one has, you know, the window so you can see what's going on underneath the water, and then you can see what's going on above the water. That was kind of, you know, where I was going with this one. And then I'm pretty sure that I should have done bigger lily pads, because doesn't everything look bigger when you're underwater than when you're, I don't know. But I had little ones left, so I just went with the little ones. And then I'm going to add this piece to the back of that acetate tea here. And just adhering it with that collage medium. And that is the back of my box. That is not the front. That is just the back. I did keep the back fairly simple. I didn't do anything overly excessive on the back. I just wanted to be there to be a mini scene on the back side of it. And then I'm going to hold that down while all the glue dries. And then I'm going to work on my front scene. So I'm pretty sure the fish for this one were the Mermaid for You add-on. And then I did cut that out with the coordinating die from the actual Mermaid for You regular, not the flip-flop. I just fold it up to the light and line it up upside down. Does that make sense? Because you can use your other dies. You'll just have that beveled edge is on the wrong side of your colored image. But the rest of them were use the Brother Scan and Cut, so it really doesn't matter, at least for this application. And then I'm going to continue to decorate the front side of my platform pop-up with a view. So I was thinking about putting that on front, and then I didn't want to cover up the fish that was going to be in there. So I ended up putting the seaweed on the side window. And then I decided that the little fish was going to be in the middle, like the other side. So it does kind of match a little bit. So my background panels kind of mirror the opposite side. I mean, I purposely did that, you know, because not that anyone will notice, but, you know, I will. So it kind of looks like it was a continuous scene throughout the base. And then just adding in all of the little bits and pieces that I colored and used for this one. The little frog from Very Rainy Day. Because, you know, he's got to hang out underneath water too. He's got to see what's going on down there. And then for my teas, I did end up doing the collage medium just to help secure them in. And then I did fold up my top of my the top of my platform pop-up box there instead of down. That way you don't see it in the window. And so here I'm going to put that clear piece of acetate in the middle there so I can build the top of my scene. And then I will adhere this. I needed to make sure that was folded flush. I think I might have, I don't know, I wiggled something wrong. And so it wasn't like straight. So I just refolded it and it was fine. And then cutting off those little added pieces there just a little bit so you don't actually see them in the window. Why I switched glue at this point? I don't know. Probably because I wasn't adhering it to acetate, so I wasn't too concerned about it. And then for that top scene, so I'm going to add the little flower on there and do a little bit on the back side here. Not a whole lot. And so for this one, I'm going to add that log on the front side of that clear acetate piece. And then I had already tried this out, and you can kind of wiggle it so you don't have a whole lot of the other frog showing through. You know, it's not exactly perfect lined up for my back-to-back there, but it's close enough that, you know, it gives the illusion of the double-sidedness without, you know, having to try to light box it all. And this way my frog was on both sides of my log. That was the goal. And then the same with the little cattails here. I just took the double cattail is from the Swan Soiree, I think. And I just took two little cattails from the other sets and then lined them up back to back so they had that double-sided look to them. And then I'm going to take the rest of my images and just kind of build the pond scene here. And then trying to figure out how I wanted to do the front T. So I decided to put the lily pads underneath that T so then my frogs can actually sit on top of the lily pads. So I'm going to double up this little frog. He probably doubled up the greatest of all of the things because he's fairly symmetrical. And keep in mind, I used the Brother Scan and Cut, not the coordinating dies for those, so maybe the coordinating dies would line up better. I don't know. And then for my little lily pad, I had two flowers to put on top, so the flower is actually sitting on top of the lily pad vertically. It looks kind of cool. And then I'm going to take some more of those pieces and decorate the back of my box. I pulled in the little, I don't know, lizard type thing. I actually made him into a salamander because that's what we have here. And that's what his shape reminds me of a little salamander. And that one came from the Two Can Do It, I do believe, stamp set. So I pulled in a bunch of stamp sets here. I just kind of shopped mustache. And then adding in that little frog. And I think I used most of the images that I had. And of course, you know, I had two dragonflies. So of course we had to add another acetate pick. Because, you know, it's not complete without a little dragonfly. I did go in and glossy accent all of my frog eyes that are open. I think all of them are open, except for the one that was already in the box. Which, yes, I debated putting glossy eyes on the front because I was like, he needs little glossy accent eyes too. But I didn't. I resisted the urge. And because I like living dangerously, I put my platform pop-up into my Misty and decided, oh, I'm going to add a sentiment because I had both of the windows and I didn't really want to put up anything in the air. So I decided to wing it and stamp. I did each word individually, and I actually got all of them on the first take, which was amazing. The stamping goddesses were with me or something. I don't know. It worked. Do as I say, not as I do, something like that. You probably want to figure out where your sentiment's going to go before you get that far. Oh, see, I knew I'd added a piece in there. I thought I did another one too, but yes. Going in and adding this after the fact is a little more difficult than doing it right away. So I'm just going to make sure everything is on there. I will add my little dragonfly pieces front and back. And then I will stick this to that acetate piece on the back side there. And so, of course, the little dragonfly needs some glitter. I don't think I missed glitter in any one of my cards for this series. They all have some glit. I was in a glitzy mood this month, or last month. Last month, really. So there is the completed platform pop-up box. You see the with a view times 4. I guess there's 4 windows, so 4 views. It's all good. So there is the little back, the party in the back. Now I'm mad I didn't put little party hats on them. That would have been so cute. And my little lily pad kind of pops up. If I'd have thought about it, I would have folded it the other way, so it would have been popped up the other way, but it turned out cute that way. And there you go. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and all of the things. I hope you enjoyed, and there'll be one more left in the series for sure. And I'll see you then. Keep getting inky.